Hey, thanks for clicking on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. I'm the host of the Pay Me No Mind and the Bite Down Boxing podcast that are currently, at least for Pay Me No Mind, is kind of living here on YouTube. And I didn't want to abandon kind of the late season series that I started on the Washington Redskins, which is my favorite team. And I didn't really want to use my podcast um, as a platform to really be a homer and do a bunch of homer stuff. So, but we lost this weekend, and like I said, I had done two other videos in the previous weeks and good wins after good wins, and I just didn't want to jump ship after a unfavorable outcome to a game. So this week we had the Houston Texans. There was a lot of stuff going into this game. The issue with the fans, the home, and I said on the last video, I would have felt more comfortable if this game was on the road. I kind of was a day or two ahead of that story, but some controversy or some family feuding between Norman, I believe was the player involved, and then the fans in at the home games in DC. So that was one of the leading stories. And then what else was out there? I think that was the controversial stuff. The thing is just trying to maintain this lead. Oh, and then the other piece was, what do we do? What do we really have in Alex Smith? And segments of the fan base were already calling for McCoy to be inserted into the offense. Well, we get to the game, and lo and behold, we have to call on number 12, Mr. Colt McCoy, after the gruesome injury with starter Alex Smith, who I believe it was 33 years to the day, sustained a similar injury to the great Joe Theismann. I believe his name was Theismann before he got in the running for the Heisman and then became Theismann. But anyway, tough game. It was a winnable game. I thought, and I didn't see this game. That's another reason why I wasn't in a rush to do a video, because I just caught the last quarter of the game via Facebook, via one of the fan pages, or maybe the fan page. So I won't go long with it. I think Colt came in and did a pretty decent job. In speedy recovery, successful surgery. I'm hoping all the best for Alex Smith. But Colt came in, got a touchdown pass. Prior to that, there was a pick six that really might have been the difference of the game. If you take away that pick six, and they actually would have had to, rely on their offense to score the touchdown, maybe it's a different set of circumstances. Kept DeAndre Hopkins relatively in check for the day. Kept a very modest game from Deshaun Watson. So again, we were in the game. And then I think, if I'm keeping it funky, this play at the end of the game that just inexplainable how this flag was not thrown. I want to say again, I watched it on a stream, so I'm sorry, on a Facebook Live from Ashley Jefferson, I believe, with her awesome commentary. But that pass attempt to Doxson at the end of the game into double coverage would have been around the 30-yard line or the 25 or something. From the 35 to the 25, I believe, was where it was going. Clear passing interference. And they just, after the incompletion, they just moved on very quickly. No thought given to, what just happened. How two men, and maybe they were thinking inadvertent contact, but horrible call. And completely and maybe that was the play before the field goal attempt. It was within 2 or 3 plays of that, but significantly just messed up everything that we were trying to do. We went with the decision to go for a 56, 57-yard field goal. And I believe on the telecast, on TV, they said it was 6 yards short, but or 5 yards short was what the commentator said, but it was more like 8 or 9 yards short. I think it did get into the end zone. So anyway, it didn't have a prayer. And it's unfortunate. But like I said, that call that just kind of was swept under the rug really set things back horribly. But let's look ahead. I just want to say one quick thing. The good thing is that Colt has the one Monday Night Football performance, the big win in his home state of Texas. So there's some familiarity with him. Maybe it's some that's not an omen, but it's a positive in McCoy's favor. I think one thing about McCoy is that even though he doesn't have the arm strength, he takes chances. He takes shots. And I think that's one part of the frustration in the past weeks with Alex Smith is he just doesn't roll the dice very often. And sometimes you got to spend money to make money. And he's just always had an unwillingness to do that. So anyway, we going here this week with the Cowboys, can still come out of this game with a, tie for first place, but definitely losing momentum. Dallas doesn't have a great offense. We can do some things with Dak. Our run defense is suited, and we've demonstrated that we can shut down running backs. We've already had a good outing versus Ezekiel Elliott. So let's just not panic. Only thing is it's a shortened week, but I think it's one good sign, an omen, one positive omen is the fact that our starting quarterback will be in his home state around friends, family, friends and family. So we gotta be positive and optimistic with that. And like I said, now the Dallas defense, this Vander Esch cat, he's a monster. Flat out. We give Jerry his knocks about who he drafts and whatever. But Vander Esch is a problem. But Lawrence is out there on the edge, but we can probably get to 17 to 24, 27 points possibly. So I wish us well Thursday night, and everybody have a great holiday. The one thing that I did want to speak on very quickly was, in looking at the quarterbacks that we brought in, T.J. Yates, who has a playoff win, I believe, against the Cincinnati Bengals. Mark Sanchez was who they went with. E.J. Manuel, not a good professional quarterback. I saw in the fan room and whatnot about Colin Kaepernick, and to think that Kaepernick could possibly be signed in the nation's capital, home of the U.S. government, with everything there that is emblematic of what he was protesting against. The chances are, that he was going to be signed. And then the fact that Snyder, I believe, was, publicly or openly was a supporter of Donald Trump during his candidacy for, to become president. Just didn't see that happening. All I want to say is, it's funny, because the Cowboys signed Greg Hardy, who had pictures, of what he had done in his to the female involved in his domestic violence case, and he got a job. Now, say what you want about Kaepernick, but at least have the facts correct. To this day and age, to still not, I can respect somebody who says, hey, Wood, I understand what, I understand his concerns, Kaepernick's concerns about the unfair or the police-related shootings. I understand he thinks that the country, has some could do better with racial relations, race related matters. I understand all of that. But I just don't like what he did. My father-in-law, 20 years in the Air Force, retired, was not a fan of how he chose to protest. So I would be cool if you disagree with him, as long as you said I understand what he's talking about. But for the people who continue to post and make fire shots without even understanding, you just completely shut them down. I mean, you shut them off. You don't even want to listen to what they have to say. How hard is it to listen to somebody and understand what their position is? But that's where we're at in this country. Secondly, his numbers weren't horrible coming from San Francisco. They just weren't. He had the bad game, I believe it was against Buffalo, I think in a snow game or something, where, I think he might have had less than 50 yards passing total. But I think he was 12-4 with touchdown to interception ratio. I want to say it was 12-4. Alex Smith is 10-3, was 10-3 at this point, going into this game. So that's basically it. If you didn't want him there, he's not there. But again, is to see us, as the Washington Redskins followers and supporters, the Burgundy and Gold Nation and hashtag HTR and all of that, to see us feuding over misinformation is, just foolish. But, I will say, if they could have brought him in and seen some things and that he was better than the guys he couldn't be, and I'm saying, I'm sorry. He couldn't be worse than Mark Sanchez. Let's hope that he doesn't have to hit the field. So do whatever they wanted to do this week just to get another guy on the team, on the roster. But, moving forward, I don't know who we take a look at. I don't know if we could not afford to, to bring him in and kick the tires, look under the hood and see where is he at with things. Is this a guy that going into the final few weeks of the season where we could modify the offense to feature, and play up the attributes of a mobile quarterback? And be a totally different looking team and still rely on the defense and then a guy who can make some plays. I don't know if that's Kaepernick or not at this point. But like I said, I think it's highly unlikely that the front office and the coaching staff takes a look into that because of the stuff that I mentioned earlier. But as like I said, as the Burgundy and Gold Nation, we could at least understand the facts. And now I'm saying I don't even know if Kaepernick. I was never a fan of him. I mean, he's not a downright difference maker, if you will. I mean, he hasn't done anything that indicates that. We know that he could do some things with his legs, but he did decline. His play did decline once Harbaugh left. And, he had some struggles that year, his final year, where they opted to go with Blaine Gabbert. They started the season with Blaine Gabbert. So anyway, I probably just lost a bunch of people who don't want to hear anything, the facts of what the situation is with Kaepernick. But anyway, like I said, Sanchez is the backup. So maybe that's some consolation to those out there in that situation. The last thing that I did want to mention, I know I said that was it, but these next 3 games are all divisional games. We play Philly on Monday night on December the 3rd. They could be in a free fall. Stephen A. Smith thinks they can go 5-1. I don't know why we would think that that's possible. They haven't demonstrated that they can win 3 games in a row or 4 games in a row. So, but he's optimistic, whatever that means to you. The Giants might have the best offense in the division with the pieces that they have. Saquon in the backfield, the group of the wide receiving core that they have, led by Odell Beckham Jr. And if Eli's given some time, you saw they scored 38 points this week. You know, I'm not so sure that in any game this year that we'll score above 24 points or 28 points, unless it happens this Thursday. So we need at least one of these 3 games. We really do. And, you know, the Giants are a deadly team because they're playing, a lot of guys are trying to prove something still. Now that they went on this, 2-game win streak. So I think we still had the easiest path, you know, of everybody in the division. But, you know, with the last 3 games being Jaguars, in Jacksonville, at Titans, in Tennessee, and then we close the season with the Eagles visiting us, who could be in an absolute free fall. So once again, you know, we come down to the final 4 games of the year, and we'll see what we do. There was one other thing, just quick note. Well, that's that. Like I said, all along it was just where, you know, how were the playmakers coming or developing with Dotson and you know, when Crowder and Thompson could get back and what the team could be. And now with our signal caller being, you know, in flux, who even knows what to look forward to? The only thing is we've come too far to be in a good drafting position, and we don't even know if Smith can even make it back as a player whatsoever. Joe Theismann did make it back. So a lot to take in. Hail to the Redskins. Enjoy the rest of the season. Like I said, have a good holiday Thursday. Enjoy friends and family. Have some great memories. And I'm out. Oh, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. Support a brother in some kind of way. Hey, I'm out. Peace.